Nothing more to tell. Chapter 14, Trip. I might have exaggerated a little, Bryn says when I get into her Volkswagen the next day. So clean that I think it was brand new, except for the fact that it doesn't have the new car smell. Whoever normally sits in the passenger seat, Ellie probably, is a lot shorter than me, so I have to adjust the seat all the way back. Once I do that, I turn to look for my seatbelt. About what? I ask. Well, technically I didn't talk to Mr. Solomon. I left him a message. I freeze, halfway buckling myself in. You left him a... Hold on, you're telling me he's not expecting us? We're just showing up? A red alert starts chiming on Bryn's dashboard as she backs out of my driveway. You need to fasten your seatbelt, she says calmly. And yes, that is what I'm telling you. We can't do that, I protest. Why not? You said he invited you. Plus, he might never check his messages. A lot of people don't. And then where would we be? Not barging in on the guy, for one thing. The beeping sound is driving me crazy, so I finish fastening my seatbelt, even though I'd rather get out of the car entirely. You know, for somebody who called me a liar, you sure like to play fast and loose with the truth. I didn't call you a liar, Bryn says. I called you a bad liar. Yeah, she did, and it's been bugging me ever since. Why would she say something like that? Maybe she was just looking for an excuse to rattle me, which she seems to enjoy. I guess I can't blame her, but it's not like I'm going to ask. Instead, I settle for a grumpy, I wouldn't have come if I'd known. You owe me. I took a punch for you. She adjusts her knit hat, which is pulled down so low there's no possibility of seeing whether the bruise has gotten worse. She looks perfectly healthy, though, her cheeks pink from the cold and her eyes bright and clear, which I'm noticing a cynical observation to make sure a concussed person isn't driving me around town and not for any other reason. You shouldn't have been next to me, I said before realizing it's the ultimate dick move to blame somebody for getting punched. Plus, I remember Bryn's hand brushing my sleeve just before Shane pulled me away. She was there because she was trying to stop me from making a giant mistake. Sorry, that was out of line. I'm just rattled. You rattle me, Bryn. Always have. It's fine, Bryn says, waving hand. Bygones. And I know I'm being a little pushy with Mr. Solomon, but it would be nice to give Miss Colesso something positive on Monday. She's had a rough week. What do you mean? I ask. Well, first there's a Mr. Larkin portrait. That really upset her. She was in charge of having it done, and she feels responsible for what happened because she didn't keep it somewhere secure. It was just backstage in the auditorium, where pretty much anyone could have gotten to it, Bryn says. But also when I asked her yesterday for Mr. Solomon's number, she mentioned that somebody had trashed all the flyers she made for the Memorial Garden Committee. Threw them out? I ask. No, scribbled over Mr. Larkin's face in every single one. Well, scribbled sounds kind of harmless, doesn't it? It was more like angry red slashes. Well, shit. I'm quiet for a beat, absorbing that. Somebody really didn't like Mr. Larkin, huh? Miss Colesso thinks it's directed at her. Seriously? I can't I ask. I can't picture it. Miss Colesso is like everyone's favorite grandmother. Even the self-proclaimed dregs don't give her a hard time. Why would she think that? I guess she can't imagine anyone hating Mr. Solomon that much, Mr. Larkin that much. Bryn makes a turn on Spruce Road, the long, winding street that leads to Mr. Solomon's house. Most Sturgis kids know where he lives because his house backs up against the soccer fields, and we'd always pass it on our way to buy ice cream after practice. He usually worked in his garden on weekends and would wave as we passed, especially since he's been gone almost 4 years. I mean, can you think of a reason? I don't like the way she asks questions. Like there must be a sinister answer that only I know. No, I say shortly. Shift to my seat to look out the window. We drive in silence until Bryn passes the mailbox with the number 39 on it and says, "Here we are." She slows to a crawl and turns into the unpaved driveway. I flip the sun visor up, expecting to see the same pristine little bungalow I remember. But that's not one in front of us. The yard is littered with tools, debris, and an oversized blue tarp half covered with ice. The flower box is beneath the window, and two large planters flanking the stairs leading to the front door full of dead plants. Are we sure he still lives here? Brent asks, pulling to a stop beside a rusty black pickup. We aren't sure of anything, I say. This is your field trip. She bites her lip, looking worried enough that I relent and say, "Yeah, he lives here. That's his truck." "Okay, well, here goes nothing," she says. We climb out of the car and approach the front stoop, stepping over a scattering of loose bricks that look as though they've been here for a while. Bryn presses a yellowing doorbell and a loud chime sounds. We wait in silence for a minute, and she presses again. This time I hear a clattering noise from somewhere inside, but nobody comes to the door. "Mr. Solomon?" Bryn calls, cupping her hands beside her eye to peer through the dusty window panes next to the door. Bryn Gallagher from St. Ambrose. Are you home? If he is, he doesn't want to talk to you. I say finally. Let's go. Not yet, Bryn says. I could swear I heard someone. Maybe we should try the back door. She doesn't wait for an answer, just troops down the stairs and round the corner of the house. After a moment's hesitation, I follow. Mr. Solomon's backyard is worse than the front, filled with half a dozen rusted wheelbarrows and empty planters stacked so high that they're tilting dangerously. The space used to be open when we were kids, but now it's surrounded by short wooden fence. Bryn is standing at the gate, brow furrowed, as she fumbles with the latch. What are you doing? I call, lengthening my strides. You can't just open that. It's the only way to get to the back door, Bryn says, head down. I don't understand how this works, though. I forgot how hopeless Bryn is at anything that requires special awareness. You pull and lift, I say, popping the latch. But I don't think... There's a loud click from the direction of the house. Bryn's hand seizes mine and clutches so tight that it hurts. She's gone completely rigid, eyes fixed in front of us. When I follow her gaze, I find myself staring into the barrel of a shotgun. Holy shit, I breathe. My heart gives a panicky leap, and my mouth goes dry. I've never seen a gun before, except behind the glass at a museum. This one, even from 20 feet away, looks cannon-sized and deadly. Half a dozen thoughts crowd my brain at once. I miss Regina and Al. I haven't seen my mother in 2 years. I never got to leave Sturgis. I never made up for any of the things I did wrong. I never apologized to Bryn. I say, my voice is hoarse. I'm really sorry. For what? Bryn hisses, squeezing my hand even tighter. Did you know this was going to happen? No, I don't know how to finish that sentence. Seconds tick by with no sounds except for our breathing, and my tunnel vision expands to take the man in front of us. He's short and white hair, dressing in a checked flannel shirt that's too big for his frame. Even though his face is half hidden by the barrel of shotgun, my heart rate slows as I process who it is. I would have never expected Mr. Solomon to pull a gun on anyone, so all of this is new territory, but I'm reasonably confident he won't pull the trigger. Mr. S, I call. It's Noah Talbot. You asked me to come by, remember? Thieves, he barks out. Think you can sneak around and take what's mine? No, definitely not. Somehow, without me even realize, I put up the hand that Bryn isn't holding, like an old-time bank teller getting robbed. We just wanted to talk to you. Goddamn thieves and trespassers, he snarls, and he lowers the gun, a fraction my words finally sink in. Wait, Noah? He asked doubtfully. Is that you? It's me, I confirm. Could you maybe put the gun all the way down? He ignores the request and jerks his head towards Bryn. Who's this? Bryn calls. Bryn Gallagher? Mr. Solomon went to St. Ambrose, remember? No, he says shortly. We finally lowers the gun and both Bryn and I exhale noisily. Why are you trying to break into my garden? Yeah, Bryn, what are you? I mutter, which turns me a glare. Well, actually, Mr. Solomon, we wanted to talk to you about gardens. She glances around as at the ruins of what used to be Mr. Solomon's pride and joy. The school is putting one together for Mr. Larkin, like a memorial garden. Trip and Noah and I, are in charge of plantings, but we don't know what to choose. We don't know what's good for something like that. Mr. Solomon just stares at her without moving a muscle. Bryn shoots me a helpless look, I don't know how she thought this was going to go, but I'm sure she doesn't picture shouting questions over a gate at an armed man. So we thought we'd ask you. It's not a question exactly, but her voice lifts hopefully at the end. I'm busy, Mr. Solomon says. Oh, sure, Bryn says. I should have called. Well, I did call. But anyways, we could come back another time, maybe? You can come back, Mr. Solomon says, his voice finally softening. Oh, it's nice to see St. Ambrose kids, but I'm not talking to you about any goddamn garden. You're not? Brent asked, doubtfully gazing around at Mr. Solomon's wasteland of a backyard. Do you not, like gardens anymore? I like 'em fine, Mr. Solomon says, Brent's eyes cut towards me confused. I shrug, mouthing, he's not all there. She finally notices that she's still holding my hand and drops it like I'm burning her, which makes me annoyed that I didn't pull away first. I might have explained things right, she says. The garden we're doing is a memorial garden for Mr. Larkin to celebrate his... I know what a memorial garden is, Mr. Solomon interrupts. I'm not interested in helping you with this one. Mr. Solomon tucks his gun under his arms and turns for the door, calling, Take care, Noah, over his shoulder. See you up Brightside. What the hell? Bryn murmurs. She raises her voice and calls, Why not? Mr. Solomon is at the door now, and at first I think he's going to ignore her, but instead of reaching for the knob, he pauses with one hand on the railing and half turns to face us. "'Cause that son of a bitch got what he deserved," he says. Then he walks inside and slams the door behind him.